Evening, everybody. It's like 2 a.m. where I am right now, but I got to go over this quick chapter in chapter 3 of Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. Now, it's not a long chapter. I don't know what the author was thinking when he wrote this. Maybe he had a nice bottle of Screaming Eagle and he called this one page a chapter. But anyways, I got to do my disclaimer first. I don't know the author, never talked to him, never emailed him. He's on the West Coast, I'm on the East Coast, but our lives have run in parallel. We have done nearly the exactly same thing, ended up in the same place, and you can too. I'm an educator, real estate educator, broker, appraiser, top REO asset manager in the country during the mortgage crisis, and this is one of my favorite real estate investment books of all time. I have like 200 something of them in my office. So that's the disclaimer. I don't make anything off the book, so I don't even have an Amazon link. So if you want to buy it, go to Amazon and buy it. But chapter 3 is knowing what is not a risk. And a lot of the drawback of people starting in real estate is they have insecurities. They aren't comfortable. They don't know. But this is the thing. Buy this book and you start to know. You get educated. And let me tell you, I got a degree in real estate. I would trade my degree for this book because as far as investing, I mean, my degree has gotten me in the doors for a lot of things for different real estate, but not for investing. The book here teaches you how to invest, teaches you how to do it, and at the end, over your course of your lifetime, you assemble a large portfolio of properties like I have, Tom has. He's done the same thing on the West Coast as I've done on the East Coast over the last 4 decades. And we both ended up with big portfolios, good streams of income, and it's possible for anybody. The baby boomers are, aging, and young people are going to end up having these properties if they know what they're doing. So, part of it is, like he says in this title, knowing what is not a risk. Let me just give you an example. If you live in a neighborhood and nearly all the homes are identical, right? Your house is nearly identical to everything, sort of like Levittown in Long Island. But you're going down the street. Your house is worth $200,000, and you see 6 houses down, somebody put out a sign, for sale, $50,000, this house. Would you slam on the brakes and make a deal right then or not? Yes, you would, because you know that your house is worth $200,000 and every house in the neighborhood is basically the same, and that price is lower. And so that would not be a risk to you, would it? Because you have the knowledge of the neighborhood. So that's the part of the thing. You get to go out and explore, look at a lot of properties, and then you start to sink in on value, because value is one of the most important things, I think. People might agree as, cash flow or whatever, but value is, you got to know the value. You want to make deals, there's a big discussion whether you should buy everything under market, or somebody says wedge deals, but a wedge deal is just something under market. It's not a special thing. It's happened from the beginning since one of the first houses was ever sold. There's always been, what's it worth, and possibly is it sold under value? So you got to look at that. You got to know your value and where you're going with your goal. Some people can pay retail if they say, hey, that house has a good return on rent and I'm planning on keeping it for 25 years. Well, what you pay for it today really doesn't matter at the end of 25 years, does it? As long as it's paid for itself. But other people want instant equity. I'm recording this on April 8th, 9th of 2020, so we're in the COVID-19 panic in the United States right now. Well, there's been an impact on people selling and buying real estate. Well, you could have bought a property 3 months ago, and maybe it's not worth what it was 3 months ago now, right? So there is no margin there. So you got to look at your goal. So, knowledge is the reason you can evaluate risk. Because once you have the knowledge to know, I can eliminate that if it's risky, or you can make quick decisions if you have the knowledge and you understand, well, that's not risky. Just like If that guy put up that sign for the house for $50,000 when you know it's worth 200. Another thing, besides knowing values, you got to know contracts and simplicity. Every realtor has a form contract through their board of realtors. If you're writing your own contracts, I think he gets onto it later in this book. No, start preparing yourself and look at a real estate contract now. Both one from a realtor, one online. You can buy these simple ones, and look at different clauses in the contract. You don't want to do this when you just find the property and go, "Oh, I've never looked at a real estate contract before." You want to start that. So that eliminates risk. Should this clause be in the contract or should it not? Having a system, whether you're just educating yourself about a farm area, values, financing options, all this eliminates risk. Knowledge is power. No returns. Do you want a short-term? Is this a short-term flip? Is it a long-term income property? What is it? And you know your returns, and then you'll say, well, this property is too risky for that, or it's not. The main sentence in this chapter, it is a short chapter, but it's important. It is important because you got to know your risk. You really have to know. And to eliminate your risk, you educate yourself. You get more knowledge, and you know, well, is this a risky decision or not? Is this a risky clause in a contract or not? Am I putting together a marketing system that's not going to have sufficient returns? So is that risky as far as my future as a real estate investor? Knowledge, and it's all in this book. So one of the riskiest things would be not to spend $10 or $20 to buy this book because you're not giving yourself the knowledge. It's quite frankly that simple. I teach investment classes. I teach broker classes, salesperson classes, appraiser classes. And, you got to have the knowledge. And this book's 3-4 times as thick as this. I've read them. There's some good ones. But will you get through it? Will you do it? Does it put it in simple course? Is it written by somebody that's actually done it for decades like Tom has? I'm commenting on it. I have done it for 4 decades. And I teach it. So, I can't. It's risky if you don't buy the book. Don't just listen to me. I'm not going to read the chapters word for word, but I'm going to give you the information that would be helpful in each chapter. The things that I've seen that really, there might be only 3 sentences in a chapter where I target in on, but I'm so refined from reading so much of this that I can zoom in on it, explain it to you from my perspective as another investor that's been doing this for 40-something years. You have nothing to lose but the chance to become a millionaire. And anybody can do it. I don't care what walk of life. I'll be honest with you. I grew up on a farm in upstate New York. It wasn't a prosperous beginning. Before that, I traveled around the country because my father was in the service. I lived in the same trailer in New York, Virginia, Maine, and Texas. They literally dragged this mobile home around the United States. So I'm certified trailer trash, but besides that, I got myself, and I just started. When I was 18, I was like, I can buy this, fix it up, and sell it. I can buy this, fix it up, and rent it. But I started. That was the most important thing. And with every deal, you learn something new. I still do deals. I still present offers every single day. And I learned something new. So start. Start. And start. That's all I can say. That's the most important. Start educating yourself today.